Hey guys, so welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we're just in the woods behind the house actually, and I thought I would do a bike check on the Vitus Sommet we've been riding this year. You've probably noticed that we've not actually uploaded, well, I've not actually uploaded a YouTube video now for, it's probably been a couple of weeks, just with all this crazy madness, weird stuff that's been going on in the world. So thought I'd just get off my ass basically, because I've not recorded a video for ages, and give you guys a bike check of the components on the bike, and kind of like a bit of a review as well of what I think of the bikes. If you're looking at getting one of these enduro bikes, then hopefully this will help you make a decision if this is right for you or not. Okay, so first of all, this is the Vitus Sommet VRX, and it's in this real cool colour that Vitus called Blurple, so it's like a mix of purple and blue. And it kind of like when the sun's out, the sun's not out at the minute, but when the sun comes out, and you can just about see that it's like a pearlescent colour. Real cool finish on the bike. So I'm 6 foot, probably just over 6 foot, and this is a size XL. I did try riding a large 29er VRX, and it was a little bit too small in the cockpit, so I've gone up in size this year, and that extra cockpit length, you know, it's only another 15 or 20 mil, but it's given me so much more room to move about on the bike and just generally feel more comfortable and stable when I'm riding on pretty much any terrain. We take a look at the suspension. This year we got Fox suspension, Fox 36 forks with the Grip 2 damper. They come standard on the bike, and then on the rear we've got a Fox DPX2 air shock, which is performing amazing right now. So as we're recording this video, Fox have just released their 2021 Fox, the new range of Fox forks, so, and rear shock. So that includes their new 38mm stanchion fork, a Fox 38, which I guess would be probably give you a more stable chassis of the fork and overall stiffness feel of the bike. So I can't wait to check that out. And also on the back of the bike, I'm gonna see, I'm not too sure if we can do this or not because of the spacing around the in the rear shock there. I want to try and test out a coil spring on this bike, because I've always been an advocate of coil springs over air, just because of the supple feel that you get from a coil that you can't really replicate in an air shock. I know air shocks are like amazing technology now, but I just think you can't beat that feel of a coil spring. But we're just going to see if it fits on the bike first. If it does, then we're going to test it out. So moving on to wheels, we've got DT Swiss 1501 rims, 32 spoke, and then we've just got DT Swiss hubs front and rear. I've been a massive advocate of DT Swiss now for a few years, and if a bike comes with DT Swiss stuff, I wouldn't even hesitate to I'd just leave it alone. DT Swiss rims and hubs, in my opinion, are some of the best that you can get for a mountain bike. Real reliable hubs, real reliable bearings in the hubs, and the rims are just solid, and they're really good for setting up tubeless. So the hook on the actual rim is designed in such a way that there's obviously other brands out there that make some really good rims. I've never had a problem with DT Swiss rims, though. I think they're absolutely solid, and their tubeless setup is next level, I think. Probably worth noting as well that inside the wheels we've got the Rim Pack Pro insert, so that's basically just an insert to protect against snake bites, tire punctures, just everything. So we just want full protection. I'd say if you're racing at any level, especially Enduro World Series level, you want to try and eliminate as much like risk as possible of punctures and stuff. So I just figured that inserts are like a no-brainer and almost should be essential for anybody racing at that level. I probably don't think you may not want to get the pro inserts for, like, say, if you're just a weekend warrior, you do a race every now and again, or you just go out for a ride every weekend without racing. I'd still recommend you get inserts, but probably not the pro inserts, probably just the normal standard inserts that Rim Pack sell. There's obviously other brands out there as well, so you've got Cushcore, so, you know, other brands, but there's heaps out there. These are just ones I've tested and they're really good price, so yeah. There's a link in the description as well. I'll put all the links to anything I mentioned in today's video down below, so you can go check out where you can get that stuff. Moving on to drivetrain, this year is a big up for me because I've never ran XDR drivetrain, so that's really special. So this is the XDR 12-speed derailleur, and I think we have an XT cassette on there and an XT Shimano chain. So yeah, I've never actually ran Shimano XTR before. I've always just been a big advocate of Shimano XT, and this is the first year I've actually been running 12 speed on a bike. So one thing I will say about 12 speed as against 9, 10 or 11 speed is that the tolerances are a little bit smaller. When you're setting your gears up, it's a lot more refined. If you think you're obviously, the chain's ever so slightly narrower, I guess. So the tolerance for movement is a lot smaller, which could be a plus, could be a minus. I think it's a plus because obviously we've got that massive dinner plate gear 1 on there, which you can literally pedal up anything with it if you've got the legs. I also think as well, yes, I know XTR derailleurs are one of the most expensive derailleurs you can buy, and in my head I'm a little bit against how expensive derailleurs are, because it's a really expensive bike part that hangs at the lowest point off the bottom of your bike, which is like really close to pretty much anything and everything. So it makes no logical sense to buy something really expensive, which is why I've always bought XT stuff in the past, which is what, 60-70 pounds a derailleur. XTR's, you know, into the hundreds for a derailleur. The thing I will say though about the XTR stuff is that the actual bearings and the way it's built is of a way higher level than XT or a Dior mech. Like, you get what you pay for basically, and if you look after it and you don't obviously demolish it in a crash or whatever, the XTR derailleur will outlast all other derailleurs, I think. Again, completely new components for me this year. The Shimano XT stuff with the new 4-pot calipers. I've always been a big advocate of Shimano's lever design. Like, I've always loved the feel and the bite of a Shimano lever. It's real, like, your brake's either on or off. There's not really much in terms of like modulation as like say with an Avid brake or another kind of brake, say. I like that feel. Some other people don't like that feel. Also as well, I noticed that they've made some changes this year to the brake, which I quite like. This here is a little brace between the handlebar and the piston reservoir, which obviously in previous years was a big problem for Shimano because there was so much leverage if you hit that it would probably just snap. So they've rectified that problem now and put a brace between your bar and the piston and the reservoir, which is a really big bonus, I think. If you've used these brakes before, you'll know these brakes have been, the levers have been refined a bit, so they're a little bit different than the old levers. Again, I think that's a bonus and a plus, and they're real simple to bleed with this little bleed port here. Never been simpler. Cranks this year, we've got top of the range race face next 2 cranks, and they are 170mm. I think we've got a 34 tooth chainring on here as well, so it's good for getting the power down, but it's also works real well with the bigger cog on the back here of the 12 speed XTR stuff. Again, I've never really been a big fan of carbon cranks. We've had no problems with these yet, and one thing I do like about these race face cranks actually is you get a little cool sock that goes over the end of your crank arm to protect the end here. So like in previous years, I've just had like Shimano XT cranks which don't come with this little sleeve, so if you do hit the crank on a rock or something, it will damage. So they've obviously put this sock over to prevent that, which I think is a really good idea. So dropper post, we've got the Brand X Descend post, so this is a 170mm dropper post. Again, I've had no problems whatsoever with this dropper yet. It's like it's a solid dropper post, you could call it. Compared to other drop posts on the market, this is cheap and cheerful, I think, which is not a bad thing, because I have run this now on, not this same dropper post, I've run the same dropper post on 3 different bikes. I've never had a single problem, never. It's just a cable operated dropper post at a really good price that works. This is a 170mm dropper post. I've tried 150mm dropper post before. This 170mm post for somebody with legs my length, I would like a longer dropper post, so maybe a 200mm dropper post would be nice to see Brand X producing in the future. Just it makes it a bit more flexible when you are pedaling uphill, and then obviously going down you can drop your saddle that much lower to get it out of the way on the downhills. It's got a pretty cool, just a nice paddle shifter that is actually feels like a shifter. Nice and smooth operation, it's pretty good. So move on to finishing kits. So this year we've got neat-proof finishing kits, that's stem, handlebars, headset, and actually I've got neat-proof flat pedals on today as well, which is very unusual. So bar and stem setup, I'm pretty particular about my bar and stem setup. I like to have quite a high front end, so on here we've got, I think it's 37 or 38mm rise handlebars. Again, I just feel higher rise handlebars, you could raise your front end 2 ways. You can either put stackers under the stem, or you can buy handlebars with higher rise. And you could say that they have the same effect, that they bring the front end up, but I think they bring the front end up in different ways. So if you just put stackers underneath your stem, I think it makes the handling and the feel of the bike way different than if you got a set of high-rise handlebars. And a set of high-rise handlebars is just a personal preference for me. I love the feel, especially on steeper stuff, of the control and where it puts me on the bike. Again, personal preference, but I absolutely love running 37, 38mm high handlebars. And the stem we've got is a Nuke-Proof Horizon 50mm stem, which is not too long, but not too short as well. So it's pretty cool. I would actually like to test a shorter stem, just to see how that affects the riding characteristics of the bike too. Let me know in the comments below, obviously bike setup, rider setup is very personal to people. Let me know in the comments if you've watched this video this far. Have you got any personal setup preferences? So, do you like running high-rise handlebars? Do you like running a shorter stem? Do you like the front end of the bike to be low, high? Let me know in the comments. It'd be cool to get a conversation going and see what people are running. The tyres, we've got WTB tyres. On the front, we are running the 2.5 Verdict with a high grip casing. And on the back, we've got a WTB Judge and a 2.4, which is also high grip, tough casing. Tyres are a very particular thing for a rider as well, I think, because when you get a tyre setup and you just everything clicks and you feel this is good, you know where, you know how to read the characteristics of a tyre, if you like, so you can almost understand what a tyre is going to do in a certain situation when you're riding. So you know when the tyre is going to give when you're turning, you know where its capabilities are, where its strengths are. And it just helps you become a better rider, I think. When you're more comfortable in your tyres, riding goes to the next level. Again, these tyres may not be for everyone. These are just our personal preference because we are supported by WTB as well, but highly recommend this tyre setup. So a Verdict on the front, 2.5, slightly bigger on the front, and a 2.4 Judge on the back. Also rocking the long Mudhugger mudguard. Shout out to those guys. Also rocking the WTB Silverado saddle, which is my trusty go-to saddle for any kind of riding. So just to round this video off, I'm just going to show you some cool additions that I added to the bike to make life a little bit easier. Again, I'll put all the links in the description to these things below so you can go and check them out. These little clips basically are just helpful to tie cables together and just neaten the whole front end of the bike up. We've also got these cool little twizzy rubber things that go around the cable to prevent it rubbing against the frame, which are also pretty cool. There is what is probably best described as fish tank foam. This is foam that is literally doesn't weigh anything, doesn't absorb water. In fact, I'll take it out and show you. Here's a small segment of it. So it's just basically like fish tank foam. I'll put a link in the description below so you can grab some of this, but it costs peanuts, doesn't cost anything, but it does not hold water and it just collects all the mud in one, it just basically stops the mud getting in places you don't want it. So I've got it in just all the nooks and crannies in the bike. I've actually shoved some up here and in the bottom of the seat post just to keep the mud out. I mean, if you're riding in horrible wet sloppy conditions, the last thing you want is just mud getting in the bearings and causing havoc. That's pretty much it. That's the setup we're running this year on the main enduro bike. It's been a bit of a nightmare at the minute because we're actually, if you live in Scotland, you'll probably know that if there's any trails that are on forestry land, they've actually closed the trails for safety and stuff during these weird times. So rides have pretty much been limited to fire roads and just really basic mellow stuff, which is cool that we're still allowed out and stuff and doing stuff like that, but I'm actually just missing going out on social rides and going having a coffee with friends at a coffee shop. So I can't wait till all this is gone by and we can actually go back to normal life kind of thing. So anyway, drop a comment below, let me know what bike you're running, what kind of personal stuff you're running on it, what kind of setup. Yeah, plan to upload some more stuff in the future just to keep you guys entertained through what we're all going through now. So take care and have a great day.